pozdravljeni v Listovem inštitutu Ljubljana. Dovolite mi, da preberem uvodne besede gospe direktorice Liborke Monar-Garboj. Zelo nas veseli, da smo lahko gostitelji Veszprem jezero 2023, ki bo naslednje leto gostiteljica kulturne prestolnice. Posebej pozdravljam med nami gospod dr. Frideriko Mike, direktorico programa VIEB 2023, ter gospoda Mihaly Muller, predstavnika za javnost. Veszprem jezero 2023 je celosten program, saj poleg tega, da so danes v Ljubljani, bodo še obiskali 15 drugih kulturnih inštitutov po svetu. Tako vsekakor menim, da je tudi za vas, dragi prisotni, posebna priložnost, da iz prve roke spoznate bistrosti in čudovitost te pokrajine. Mesto Veszprem in regija Bakony Balaton bosta svoje leto kot Evropska prestolnica kulture otvorila v slogu 21. in 22. januarja 2023, se bo namreč odvilo veličastno praznovanje, ki bo zaznamovalo začetek tega leta. Slovesnost bo potekla vzporedno z obeleženjem Madžarskega dneva kulture in 200. obletnice pesnitve himne pesnika Ferenca Kölcsejja, tiste pesnitve, ki se je prelevila v besedilo madžarske narodne himne. Sedaj pa besedo predajam organizatorjem. Pogovor in predstavitev bo potekala v angleškem jeziku.
Thank you very much, Mark. So I'm really happy to welcome you all here in the Hungarian Cultural Institute, and I'm really glad that so many of the Slovenian press representatives arrived today. And we hope we won't disappoint you when we will tell you many interesting and inviting facts and mentioning some of our programs in our short presentation. I will start in the very beginning. So Veszprem won the title to be European Capital of Culture in 2018, in December of 2018, but a really long road led to this point. We also applied with the city for the year of 2010, and finally Page in Hungary won this title. We failed in the first round, so you know, maybe some of you know that it's a two-round bidding process, but it didn't discourage the city. So we started the preparations again approximately in 2015, 2016, and in the second round we were competing with the cities, such cities as Győr and Debrecen. Maybe you know them as well, like they are the biggest cities after Budapest in Hungary. And then we won this competition, and many times they ask us the question why Veszprem won this title. And of course it's a really complex question, and it's really hard to answer because there is an international jury who made this decision, and of course they give an explanation, but it's a really official explanation. So we only have a feeling why we were able to win this title. So Veszprem was always, it's one of the smallest county seats, but it has always been among the top 3 cultural cities of Hungary. And hopefully during next year we will be the number 1. But I think the biggest strength of our application, of our bid, was that at the very beginning of the preparations we decided that we won't apply alone, only as a city, but we will involve the region around us as well. That's why we changed also the name of our program, so Veszprema Balaton. Actually it involves 3 parts of the region, but we will talk about this later. And it means that right today we are cooperating with 116 other municipalities from all around the region. And another decision for us was that many ECOCs, they focus on the year of the title year, so in your case 2023, but actually we started our program already in 2021, because for us it was important to invent new artistic formats to introduce. And you know, apart from Budapest, Hungary's besides some bigger cities, a really rural region with smaller cultural actors. So it was an education process for all of us to be able to develop a program which would be of international relevance. So we started this process together in 2020-21. And another important aspect for us was, and it is for all ECOCs, that we wanted to foster the international cooperations within, not only within other ECOCs, but also within the cultural sectors of Veszprem, the institutions, the NGOs, and we are connecting us and them with other ECOCs and with other international artistic networks. For example, we also have a close cooperation with Otvoritvena. They will be European Capital of Culture, but I'm sure everyone in this room knows this, in 2025. And of course we have a 2 year delay between the title years, so it's not easy to define the connections, but we have already some programs, some plans how our the artistic fields of the 2 cities and the 2 regions can cooperate, hopefully in long term, not only for one event or for one program.
I think you may have recognized some of the faces of stars who appeared on screen this year or the year before in Veszprem, but our main goal is not to have as many world stars as possible, but the very important task is to revitalize or vitalize the cultural life of the region, and I hope this video just could show you how happy faces you could see on the several events that appeared on the different events that were organized under the umbrella of the European Capital of Culture last year and this year. What Frida didn't mention, and before going into big details on Veszprem and the region, is the fact that we had in the past years all experienced the COVID, and obviously this hindered probably with 6 months or half a year the preparations, but we are absolutely ready to launch the program on the 21st of January, as you have seen, and this is the very first time that we encourage through you Slovenian people and people interested in culture and tourism to come to Veszprem and the region. This is going to be the very first and very exciting event. We are going to talk about details about that. We just wanted to show you how interesting and important it can be for culturally addicted people to visit the region. It's surprisingly close to each other. Yesterday afternoon we were driving probably 4 hours from Veszprem. It was a regular day, and I think driving 4 hours from Ljubljana to Veszprem, or even closer from Maribor, that's approximately 3 hours, so it's surprisingly close. And visitors who come to us will experience what we say an unusual density of good things. We believe that the Veszprem region and the Bakony hills and the Balaton lowlands has such a strong cultural heritage that with the assistance, with the help of the cultural year, will make it even more exciting. Probably we just wanted to count how many events we will have next year, and unfortunately we are unable to do a calculation, but we agreed that we are going to tell you that more than 3,000 events will be organized next year. That means that almost 10 events in the region every day. And of course, we try to make 365 days year-round event, starting on the 21st of January and lasting until mid-December, so it's not 365, probably 330, but anyway, So it's, but the focus will be more likely from spring until late autumn. So whenever you come or visitors from Slovenia come, they will have the opportunity to choose in between 10 to 100 different events in the region one day, which is such a huge number of events that we believe that whoever is interested in any range of culture will find something that appeals him. Should it be gastronomy, should it be paintings, should it be pop concert, classical music, whatever, we are going to the details on that, or literature, or small festivals, or sports, or whatever, or winery, we'll find something very interesting. I told you I'd like to tell you a little bit about Veszprem. Also already Frida mentioned that it's a medium-sized city in the crossroads of commerce and culture. 60,000 people live in Veszprem, but with the region, and I think my colleague will show you a small map on the region where we are right now, and what is the actual territory of where we are having different programs. So probably you know Lake Balaton, which is a kind of a place of national happiness, as one of our colleagues almost every time mentions. Here is Veszprem, the heart of the city, and it's about 100 kilometers this way from the east to the west, and 80 kilometers from the north to the south, including the Bakony Hills, the Balaton uplands, the Lake Balaton, and the southern Balaton region, and of course Veszprem and the surroundings. So it's 116 different settlements here. So whenever you drive across this region, very often you will see the flags, these symbols with sparkling shines that refers to the fact that we are at Lake Balaton and the Veszprem Cultural Year. So
I will still stay at a bit of the general side, and then we jump on the programs. So in the very beginning, when we started to formulate our goals, it was never our goal to have like a really intense year. Of course, it's a goal of an ECOC, but we always say, or our mayor always say, that we consider European Capital of Culture something like a scholarship. You know, like when you go on an Erasmus scholarship, you have a really intense year of experience, and you learn so many things, and then at the end of the year you are really tired. But it's a defining experience in the long term. And we have this vision in our mind when we started to put together what we want to achieve in 2023, with the year of 2023. And the city of Veszprem, we have several goals, of course, for the city, for the region, and I will just mention three because they reflects our mindset. So for Veszprem, we always say it's a medium-sized city, but on European scale it's a small city, we have to admit, with its 60,000 inhabitants. But it was always our goal, and we set it for 2030, that we want to land in the top 10 of the most livable cities in Europe. We have this Cultural and Creative Cities Monitor, which is done by the European Union, and it surveys the cultural vibrancy, the creative economy, and the enabling environment of the cities. And this sounds really general, but I think our programs or projects really reflect this. Because of course we had this aspect to have the cultural vibrancy with the festival, with small events, with big size events, which we mention a bit later, because I think for the tourists they are the most interesting part. But for the people living there, living in the city or in the region, it's much more important to change the everydays of the city. And in this aspect, we had this goal from the very beginning that an important part of our program focuses on fostering the creative and economic sector of the city. So it's not a traditional eco program maybe, but we try to initiate new enterprises in the city or support them to be able to stay there. Mishi mentioned the COVID, and now we have an economic crisis, so it's a really tough time for everyone in the cultural sector. And for us, our mission adapted to these challenges on the way. On the other side, but we didn't mention until now that in 2019, Veszprem won the title European UNESCO City of Music. So we became the second member of the UNESCO network in Hungary. The first was Budapest, they are the City of Design, and we won this title, the City of Music. And of course, we have a really good base to build on. Veszprem has been always really famous for its music festivals for decades. But what we added with this title and with our work in European Capital of Culture team is to develop a special program to reach the goal that Veszprem wants to be the city where proportionally the most people are actively involved in music, that they sing and play. Of course, it starts with early age education and it ends with the really top-class festivals. So we try to cover all range when it comes to music. And we hope that we will be like something like a role model or a good practice, not only for other Hungarian cities, but for cities of the same size, with the same historic and economic background in all over Central Europe. And before we jump to the program, Mihaly mentioned that we have approximately 3,000 events. Of course, it doesn't mean 3,000 projects, because that we wouldn't be able to keep in mind, but we have approximately 200 projects. If you check our website, you can see all the descriptions of them, and we try to put them in a communication framework. One of your leaflets describes the program clusters. We have in our program, we have 9 clusters, starting with clusters focusing on the city of Veszprem, but also cluster which focuses on the ecological fragility of the Lake Balaton and what challenges it brings to the society, to the people living around the lake. And not ending, but with also for with the formats, with the new formats we try to introduce in the cultural sector, out of the ordinary, out of the box approaches that we try to include, and when we try to educate ourselves and our partners to be included in the long term in the cultural scene of the region. I don't go into the details of these clusters because otherwise we would sit here for 3 hours. I think it's a really interesting read, and you can read it, all the details on our website and the programs. I will just give the word to Mihaly, because I think you already mentioned in a sentence that our very first step in the year will be our grand opening in January.
Exactly, and Frida was talking about the different clusters, and one of the clusters is celebration. Celebration, of course, we are starting the cultural year with a celebration in this city. We'd like to show those who are coming, and we are expecting tens of thousands, probably 20 to 30,000 people into Veszprem. It's once again, we have said twice before that the number of inhabitants is approximately 60,000. So we are expecting a third or a half of the complete inhabitants of the city. Here, the celebration is going to be a 1.5 day celebration, starting very early in the morning on the 21st of January for very young kids, so that they will have their party as well. And then from noon time, there are going the different cafes and bars will open up with programs and concerts should it be a pop concert or jazz concert or a rock concert, but all very tiny ones. So if as people will arrive during the daytime and they arrive into the center of the city, they will find certain spots where they can enjoy themselves. There's going to be a bar pianist player competition on one of the squares. There's going to be different programs for young people with puppet theaters, with and also street musicians will be performing on the streets. As the afternoon progresses, there's going to be an official opening ceremony in one of the music halls in the city, and the big grand opening ceremony that's going to show the history of Veszprem and the history of the region, that's going to last about 15 minutes. That's going to start at 8 o'clock. And on 3 different places of the city, 3 historic places of the city, it's going to be in parallel. On all 3 places there are going to be different events, but since visitors cannot attend all 3 places at the same time, but we would like them to enjoy all stories. Whenever this square, the old square town, the Kossuth utca, which is one of the main streets, and the theatre garden is not active, they will be able to enjoy on LED walls what's happening in other places of the city. So it's going to be an immersive and musical performance with dances all around and music all around, with light painting and everything that's going to make people warm on the 21st of January, because we are obviously expecting a very cold day. And we'd like to keep them moving around the city, dancing and enjoying themselves. And after 9 p.m. the city will turn into a street festival. There are going to be performances, pop rock and different performances in smaller cafes on the streets, and there are going to be the whole event will last until 2 in the morning early next day. So that's going to be a very exciting day for all. And we believe that's going to be a kick-off event, and of course on the next day, as the day progresses, those who are staying with us will be able to take city walks, guided city walks with the background stories of the city in different languages. So it's not going to be an event only for Hungarian speakers, but we'd rather focus on people coming from the region. We said that we are targeting approximately a 400-kilometer round circle where people can drive easily and come and enjoy. So that's going to be the first day, and from that on going to be the several hundreds of different programs and thousands of events that are going to entertain people in the region for next year.
Yes, and as Mihaly said, it's a kickoff for us for 2023. We were discussing it, what kind of programs we would like to present to you, and for Veszprem we choose the music scene because it's an easily accessible, and I think that's the strongest genre in Veszprem. And of course, there is no language barrier when it comes to music. So even anyone who can't speak or understand Hungarian, it's easy to understand and enjoyable. And I think we will bring for 2023 some music events which will be really one of the kind, not only in Veszprem, not only in Hungary, but in the wider region as well. So for music enthusiasts, I think we will offer some really teasing opportunities when it will be worth to drive to Veszprem. And then we can't present all of our music programs, but we took some examples. So starting in March, we will start with the Blues Festival, with cooperation with the European Blues Union, and it will be definitely the biggest blues festival in Hungary ever. And of course, since it's in the spring, it will be an indoor event, so the size will be defined by the infrastructure of Veszprem. But you can expect 40 performers and bands from all over the world with 50 performances. We will have 4 Grammy Award-winning bands like Prestolnica, Sugar Blue, Rick Stream, and the Nightcats. So we just started the promotion of it in Hungary, and we can predict that it will be a really success for the ones who are really keen on blues music, because it will bring the classical blues with the really contemporary new wave blues during 3 days in Veszprem. And then when we continue into the summer, one of the biggest festivals in Veszprem since for like 20 years already. It will have a special edition, the Veszprem Fest, in 2023. It happens in the middle of July, in the beautiful valley just below the castle of Veszprem. Maybe I can't see the pictures behind me, but I'm sure you already saw some snapshots of the castle. It's a really beautiful setting, and it really adds to the feeling, to the atmosphere of the festival. And what we can expect, we will have Nora Jones, Joss Stone, Marisa, the third famous fado singer, Alvaro Soler, but also there is always one day dedicated during this festival for opera. And we will have Atra Nepletko and Yusif Ayvazov this year on the stage. We just started the promotion also for this festival. The program announcement was on the 1st of December, and we can expect it will be a real hit. And the other traditional, or like, we'll have the 25th anniversary next year, the Street Music Festival. We always say that's the most like democratic music event in Hungary. It covers the old downtown of Veszprem, and imagine more than 20 small and big stages everywhere at the corners and the small yards, in the backyards, and everywhere really in the city. And it's an international street music festival, which starts always with the talent competition for Hungarians. But in the evening it progresses with bands coming from all over the world, literally, from Capo Verde to Israel, from France, from Australia. So it's a really exciting mix, and not only street musicians, like it's a street music festival, but it's not only like one band shows, but really famous. Really famous bands arrive, but play in a different setting, and it's free from everyone, and it's a really unique atmosphere that week in the city, because it's just wandering around on the streets. So that's about maybe the 3 examples when it comes to pop music, world music, and we will wander to the classical music, because I think that's the longest tradition living in Veszprem, the classical music education, and Veszprem is the hometown where here was born Lipót Auer, which is a really famous violin teacher, and all over the world the music universities use their methods to teach violin even now. And I took 3 examples. We start with the early music days. It's a really intimate festival. It lasts a week, and it happens in an old church, in an empty old church in the valley of Veszprem, and also in the Abbey of Tihanyi. There I saw a painting here behind me about the biggest abbey in the region, just over the lake of Balaton. It's a beautiful setting and it's a beautiful church. And the early music festival brings chamber music groups and smaller vocal groups from all over Europe, from Spain to Italy to France. It's really small scale, but it's the world-class festival, so it's a really nice mix of these two. You can enjoy the concerts in a really intimate setting. And the bit bigger scale is the our International Violin Festival, which is in the first week of August, and it also brings the world stars from all over the world. We had here Vadim Repin, Misha Maisky, Gilles Pap. No, we are putting together this year's program, but I think it gives the feeling what kind of experience we can expect in the beginning of August. And what we are developing right now, it's already put together, but it's our own idea, because the festivals we mentioned happen in cooperation with the organizers active in the city since years. It's a Chacon festival, which will take place in October. I don't know how many of you are familiar with the format Chacon. It's a really unique musical format based on an old Spanish dance, and it will be a really exciting festival, fusion music festival, where classical music meets contemporary music and especially jazz with a hint of dance. And this festival will be linked to an international symposium on violin makers, because Veszprem has its own violin maker, and we put together a program where we invite all the violin makers still active in Europe to present the art of and the mystery of how a violin can be made and how it can be unique. And maybe it sounds a bit too professional meeting, but it will be open for the public, and what we can expect, it's like a blind tasting for wine. What is the difference between a Stradivari and the new made violin, and it will be really interesting for all the students and all the students who are studying music, but also for everyone, for the amateurs, and I think it will be a really unique program from everyone. And I already mentioned that music education and music involving the younger generation has always been really important in Veszprem. And for the last weekend of May, we organized a European Youth Music Festival in cooperation with the European Music School Union, and we expect approximately 4,000 young musicians from all over Europe. It's called the Music Colors. The registration is already open, so we are in the middle of the promotion of this, and it will happen on the weekend of Pentecost, so it's a long weekend, and it means that literally on every corner of Veszprem there will be music sung or played during this weekend. And one special program for us, it will be in the first weekend of September, on the 8th of September. It's the final event of one of the biggest Creative Europe programs funded by the European Union. It's called the MOST program, the Balkan MOST program. It focuses on the festivals and music agencies and producers on the Western Balkan region, and is led by a Hungarian partner, one of our strategic partners. And the final event, a huge showcase festival, and not focusing only on Western Balkan music, but opened up for world music, will be held in Veszprem in the beginning of September. So it will be a really, I think September is our favorite month in the region. So I think that will be one of the highlight events of the after summer season. But so much about music. I will continue for forever, I think. And let's jump to the region, and Mishi will bring some examples for a region.
And it's classical music that brings us to the region, because we believe that there are several events that will be very exciting for those who really like classical music. There's a small monastery up in the Bakony Mountains called Bakony Balaton, and the monks there are going to perform. They are going to celebrate the 1000th anniversary of founding their monastery, and the Bakony Balaton monks will perform a very classical church music festival late summer, early September. The other thing that might be very interesting for those traveling in the high touristic season is the lakeside festivals, where piano player will be performing several times in different locations on Balaton. Classical music, it's classic on the shore, Klassa Parton. That's also a program that leads us to the region. Also on the Balaton side, you will find programs from as early as June for young people. Gondoró Festival, and I'm not going to go into the details, but it's going to be a puppet festival. Once again, for young people, once again a festival that can be enjoyed for visitors who won't speak Hungarian, and also kids will enjoy. This is the occasion when I'd like to draw your attention to the publications you have on your desk: moods, flavors, expectations. The guy who's taking photographs here has taken most of the pictures. He's just left the room right now. This publication gives you a very nice feeling how the atmosphere of the Bakony Balaton region looks like. And also, if we are talking about the region, out there in the first room, you will find a short exhibition, once again from the pictures of Csaba Töröczkai, who is our chief photographer. And he sometimes you say that the pictures gives you more of the intimate feeling of the region than any words. So if you look to this leaflet you have here, and you have many photographs here that gives you an example on the region, and the photographs out there are going to be here with you until probably the end of February. So whenever you come and or anyone living in Ljubljana or the region would like to get a glimpse how our region feels, can get a good feeling about that. So that's what this is what I wanted to let you know about the region. And this takes us to once again because we have been talking about at least 2 dozens of different programs, or maybe more than that, but that's also a small tiny part of how many programs we'll have. So we really advise to all who are interested to look our homepage. We have already hundreds of different programs available in English and Hungarian, and soon in German for the visitors to find the programs. and also to download the application we have developed. I think you have a QR code very soon on that. I think those are the most useful tools to learn what is the Veszprema Balaton European Year of Culture is about. And before giving the floor to you, we just wanted to give you an overview what are the most important programs. If you look at the timeline, and Frida will highlight some of the programs.
We were thinking about like, I always would like to question what is the best time to go to Veszprem? What do you recommend as a local, as an organizer? So I just brought 3 examples, or 3 recommendations. So if someone would like to visit Veszprem as a family with smaller or bigger children together, for example, the Gizella days, that's always happening starting on the 7th of May, because Gizella was the first queen of Hungary, and Veszprem was originally the wedding gift to Gizella, the castle of Veszprem, so that's why it's called the city of queens. And then after, it became the coronation town of queens in Hungary for centuries. So that's the city celebration, the Gizella days. It's a 1-week-long celebration. And it's a festival. It's a series of exhibitions, performances, and I think that's you can feel the Veszprem vibe during this week the most. And it's really, if I would like to recommend someone for families, I would recommend this on the first, because it really gives a nice snapshot of Veszprem. But when it comes to youngsters, or when we are still young, or for children, well, not children, but teenagers and students, in the beginning of May we will open up a huge outdoor venue. It will be a pop-up outdoor venue. We call it the factory yard, because it used to be the furniture factory of the city, and it's completely demolished, so it's an empty lot. And we got it from the city for this year, and it will be an outdoor concert venue starting in May, ending end of September. So we will have a series of concerts all during the summer, from Hungarian stars to world stars. Some of them will be free, some of them, of course, will be like the bigger ones, visitable with the ticket. But the second weekend of June, we call it the halving or the halftime party of the ECOC. So that will be the war factory yard will be open, and for the whole weekend will be like one of the biggest music festivals. Not biggest because it fits like 5,000 people, but the most interesting music weekend during this year in Hungary. And when it comes to a bit of hedonism, and the end of September, the Balaton Wine and Gourmet Festival, which we already done a pilot this September, but it's an ECOC-initiated festival. But its name says it's about wine and food, but not only about wine and food. The goal, the general goal with this festival was to call together all the winemakers and gastronomy entrepreneurs of the region. It's something like a showcase. Maybe, I don't know, in Hungary it was a big news recently that the Michelin Guide in Hungary, until now it focused only on Budapest, but this year they opened up for the whole country, and most of the nomination and most of the big gourmet not stars, but awards landed around the Lake Balaton. So we are already on the international platform of gastronomy, and this festival happens in the heart of Veszprem, in a beautiful setting, and it's a really nice showcase what you can experience when it comes to winemaking, from the traditional methods to the really like new methods of winemaking, and all the gastronomic excellencies of the region, and we always have an international aspect in this festival. This year the guest countries were Spain and Japan, and it was a really interesting gastronomic experience for everyone. Next year will be Italy, France, and Azerbaijan, and as a guest country, and which means like we can have not like traditional like cooking courses, performances, really dinners and lunch made by invited chefs, and also experience all the goodness that we invite from the region. So maybe that's a really nice time of the year when you want to, as a journalist or as a private person, to visit Veszprem. And of course, I could go on because we have so many things happening, and I think when we come to questions, if there is a specific field, specific topic, then we will have the answers within our program schedule.
And you didn't mention wine, because wine is also very important in the... well, not enough.
Not enough.
Wine cannot be mentioned enough. That's going to be a very important part also of our gastronomic program. Not only enjoying wine, but that, because I didn't mention, and just as if you don't mind, I finish up with one of my favorite programs, which is closely related to wine, Rosé Riesling Jazz. That's a 10-day-long program in Veszprem. 30 jazz bands playing, 3 at every year. 30 different wineries are coming to the old market town of Veszprem. It's a free festival. Of course, you pay for your wine, but you enjoy the jazz music. 3 bands enjoying in a very lovely atmosphere. And that's once again a very popular meeting point of people, where you can enjoy very different aspects of culture, music, jazz, and gastronomy as well. So I think these were you wanted to say.
Yeah, because it's because, for example, Slovenian wine is not really well known in Hungary, and I think that's the other way around as well. And the winemakers we are working with, we also try to have them to place them on the international market. Of course, the quantity is not really enough to be present as Italian or French wine, but I think that's the case in Slovenia as well. But they always say that whenever they are at the international wine competition in France or wherever, they always get the feedback that the wine from Balaton, they were the nice surprise. And I think that phrase would reflect all of our programs, because I think from anyone, a tourist visitor coming from Slovenia will experience it. We have a really similar cultural background, so it will be really familiar, but with a twist of nice surprise within your program. So we really hope that we could give you a snapshot about what's us, and that we are working on for years now, and how we want to show you our city and our region.